Welcome back. In addition to the races for mayor and controller, Houston voters cast ballots to fill all 16 slots on city council, with 12 of those contests now demanding runoffs. 4 incumbents, Carlos Cisneros, Mike Knox, David Robinson, and Michael Kubosh, failed to reach the 50% mark and will have to battle into December. Panel, what are you watching for, and what's your takeaway from the first round? Charles Blaine?
Yeah, well, I'm more excited about these than the mayor's race because we actually get to hear about issues in these council races, especially in the district council races. So I'm watching, especially with the ones you just talked about, to see if there's some sort of anti-incumbent sentiment there. Maybe, maybe not. So I want to see if that happens. I'm also really paying attention to districts G and E. They don't have runoffs, but they're traditionally more conservative districts. So I'm curious about how not having runoffs is going to impact that turnout for the mayor's race. So just watching those.
Tony, who are you pulling for?
I tell you what, of course, I think incumbents have an advantage. It is what it is. What I'm interested in is the issues that'll come up. So City Council A, you got Amy Peck versus George Zoer. Sorry if I messed up your name, I probably did. But here's an issue, Spring Branch floods. There's actually citizens who live in the city that have been documenting all the new places that are flooding. I want to bring out their website to the fore. I want to make sure every city council person hears about where it floods in Spring Branch, along I-10, and City Council G. And I want the people to speak up and tell the mayor, city council, state reps that you're sick of it getting flooded. What are you going to do? That's the election I'd like to see. And I think if you come out with those issues, you're going to win. Because you're going to win with probably, 10% of the vote of all registered voters.
All the polling says flooding, #1 issue. Okay. Welcome back as we continue our discussion of last week's municipal election, the results of which triggered a total of 13 December runoffs, including a battle for the top job of Houston mayor. I'm going to turn to Bob Price. As you watched the results come in, what was going through your head about the situation on the ground in Houston?
Well, I'm really concerned about these at-large districts where you have conservatives that have been in place for quite some time. This would be their last term to be in office. This city is turning blue very quickly, and if you elect Democrats into those seats and push the conservatives out, and you have a mayor who's not limited by having to get reelected again in the next election, it's Katie bar the door.
Okay, Carmen, what's going to take to get folks in the teeth of a Texas Christmas season out to the polls?
Well, I mean, these races, I think, just like what he said, they're fascinating because they're actually about the issues that everybody's looking for here in Houston. And I think it's great, a testament to the fact that people were really informed when they went out and voted that there are so many runoffs. And so I hope everybody continues to fight for those spots. I hope they get the information out there, make issues like flooding a priority, and I hope that the voters come out December 14th. I mean, the fact that we continue to talk about the excitement on December 14th, I think is a good thing. Usually runoffs are a lowercase issue. When you have the mayoral race as part of it, I think it drums up some excitement, so I hope everybody does come out.
Michelle Maples, you watching this process?
I am. So what I think is happening is that there were so many candidates for city council, over 100 for 16 positions. And so naturally you're going to have a split vote, which then means very unlikely that somebody's going to get the majority even with these incumbents. And I think Tony's right, is that the incumbent typically has the advantage no matter what position they're in. But now that we have the dwindling down to runoffs, people can now say, okay, these are the two people, I'm gonna look at them and their issues, and then people can go in and have a smart, informed vote. In my district, District C, we had 13 candidates. What am I gonna do, go and meet and research all 13 candidates, or the normal, well, me, I did because I'm a weirdo, but your normal citizen doesn't have that kind of time. And so now that we've got this runoff, we can focus on the issues and vote in, hopefully, conservative candidates.
Tomorrow, Bell, you always tell us something we don't know. So what should we know about these runoffs?
You have all of the at-larges positions are in a runoff, and people need to be very careful about who they pick for at-large, because the at-large people have come to me when I couldn't get action from my council people. So you want to make sure one of the at-large people, only one, I would have bet my money would not be in a runoff, and that's Michael Kubosh, right, who won by the highest amount, and I believe that he will be fine. If I was David or if I was Mike, they have some things they have to be worried about, because in this runoff election, it is going to be critical that they go out and reach out to those people who voted for other people and get those people there for them. Because I believe that the city council should look like the city. It should be a balance. I don't believe in all of what liberals, all conservatives. It should be a balance. And the C race was one of the most heated races. In my neighborhood, in B, I was shocked is the word, S-C-H-O-C-K, at the people that made the finals. I'm serious. We have 2 candidates in there, and I have no idea who I'm going to support. But it was 100 candidates, and somebody had to come to the top.
Charles, you're watching these closely. What is the race that draws your attention?
I think if one had to draw my attention most, it's certainly, well, it's really all the at-large ones. I mean, I'm a huge fan and have long been a huge fan of Mike Knox, and I think he has been a staunch defender of taxpayers on council. So seeing him being challenged by a younger, very exciting guy, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Kubash, I'm also paying a lot of attention to because he's been such an outspoken critic of the mayor, but he's also been a great council member.
Very good.
And very wildly popular. So I'm very confused about the dynamic there. So I'll be watching that closely. And I believe it's your district, is it, that there's a lawsuit right now from Renee Jefferson Smith suing
that would be B. Acres Home, Trinity Gardens, Cashmere Gardens, not my
watching
neighborhood.
that one too.
Yeah.
Okay, Tony, one of the at-large candidates, the incumbents that made it through was Gallegos. Carlos Cisneros, she has a big challenger. What's your take on that?
That's going to be a firefight, especially because Isabela Longoria has a lot of experience having worked for now Texas Senator Sylvia Garcia. Carla's been there for a long time, but that's no guarantee. I mean, we do say if you're the incumbent, you have some advantage. So that is the case because they've gotten elected before, but that's going to be an all-out fight. Here's what I do hope. I do hope that afterwards we all still can get along. I still hope everyone's committed to the community, but I also hope everyone's getting out to vote. And you know how you win? Knock on my door. I like when people come to our houses because I can name entire sections of that neighborhood, of City Council A, where not once has a candidate come to someone's house, knocked on the door, say, I want your vote. That means they're not in the van, that voter activation network, which you have to pay for. That means that they're not in the fix. That means that they don't go to City Hall. Those are the folks I want you to reach out. And I promise you, the candidate that walks the pavement, earns their salt, and makes us understand that they really want the job and will service, they're going to win, and they would be great leaders. I don't care what party they're from.
Okay, a lot of people are saying one loser on Tuesday night was the firefighter union. But can they claw back in this series of runoffs? Go ahead.
The firefighters have to blame themselves because I watched the campaign that they did, and I watched the campaign that they did in 2015. The vigorousness that I saw with them in 2015, I did not see this time. They definitely have to claw back. They have got to, because the voters have already proven to them they support them. Now show you're worthy of that support by getting yourself out there for a city you want to be in.
15 seconds.
Firefighters can turn this election around because runoff elections are about turnout, and the firefighters can work the streets and get people to turn out.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Up